So in this video, basically what I want to do is make a more kind of laid back, less edited video and just go over my thoughts and opinions on Fallout 76. We've gotten a lot of news since I gave an original kind of comprehensive thoughts and feelings on this game, and since we got a lot of new details, some new gameplay, I wanted to make an updated video on this. I also have a test tomorrow, so making a less edited video is always nice in that sense. Although I feel like my opinion about a number of things in this game kind of comes down to Bethesda and the way they've shown us this information. Like the removal of many of the dialogue options, which we recently found out about, as well as the human NPCs. I don't necessarily understand why they had to do that. Now, I think there's a few takeaways from that. One, I think my opinion on this could be based off the marketing of this game. A lot of the gameplay we've seen of this game thus far has been kind of montage-like, with a bunch of quick cuts, a voiceover, and not necessarily just showcasing the game, but showcasing one particular and specific aspect of the game. I think the gameplay I honestly liked watching the most was of the perks and perk cards. Even though it wasn't super exciting and showing a bunch, it seemed way more laid back almost, and it was just showing off a specific aspect of the game. It made it very clear as to how it works, and I feel like there's very little to no confusion about perks. Granted, they spent the better part of a whole presentation talking about this, but at the same time, compared to even the PvP aspects, I don't feel like I have nearly as good of an understanding about PvP because we haven't seen a ton of it. We've seen a short clip of people shooting each other, another clip of somebody finishing an enemy off, but as far as this kind of drama-filled experience that they keep talking about, or this murderer system they're introducing for anti-grief, both of those sound particularly cool, but I think I have an additional reservation around it because I haven't seen it in action. It's not even necessarily that I want to sound entitled to this gameplay, like Bethesda has to show us this game or I'm not going to buy it. That's not the case. In reality, I think Bethesda's choice to not necessarily show off a bunch of gameplay, but in reality to share a lot of the details through interviews or just articles online, has led to a lot more maybes than definitive answers with how I feel about these aspects. If I saw it in action, awesome, I'd probably know right then and there how I actually feel about it, like the perk card system. I think it's a cool system, I think it's a welcome addition to this game. I don't have a doubt in my mind that I'll enjoy playing it in the final game. But on the flip side, the story and quests being found location and there being less dialogue options, although that definitely could be executed well, I have way more reservations. I've gone the route of actually playing some of the quests that are like this in Fallout 4, and they're fun. There's definitely a lot of enjoyment to be had, but I still have that reservation because I haven't seen Bethesda's take on it with Fallout 76. Maybe when the beta comes out, all of these questions will be answered for me. I'll feel like this game is awesome and be very excited for it, but with the weeks and obviously months leading up to the beta, I have more of an uneasy feeling than I otherwise might if I see the full gameplay. On the flip side, seeing the full gameplay may actually lead me to dislike this game more, and that might be why Bethesda's not showing it off yet. This is not really a direct criticism of the game itself, it's just definitely shaping my opinions on the game before I get to play it. I think what it is a criticism of Bethesda's marketing, because I'm not more excited based off this marketing tactic, and if anything, I think I might be less excited. But for what we actually know about the game and the core gameplay components itself, I think it's going to be a fun and different experience that I like less than Fallout 4. I think Bethesda made a good decision to actually take a little bit of a twist with this game and try some new things out. It's obvious to them, I'm sure, they would polarize a big chunk of their audience. You're going from a single player experience uniquely to a multiplayer experience uniquely. And it's weird for me because I definitely play both of these games. On one hand, I play Fallout, but on the other hand, a lot of the other games I play and you'll see featured on this channel are all multiplayer. With Fallout 76, there's hypothetically a good combination of these different features. On one hand, I hope we have a nice branching story where you actually get to see some pretty crazy and interesting experiences that will make me as a player feel in a unique way. And at the same time, getting to experience those with a few friends some of the time sounds awesome. Getting to have little events where I have to take on other groups of players, or me and other players have to take on a big monster, sounds awesome. That's all stuff I'm really excited to experience in the Fallout universe and engine. But again, kind of going back to my other point, I just don't feel like I really know what that dynamic is going to be. How much of the gameplay is actually going to have some of those old Fallout elements? They've said 80% of it or 90% of this is like old Fallout games, but that just doesn't sound believable to me. But if you're talking about 70% of the time, I'll be doing multiplayer things with other player, and only 30% of the gameplay is really going to be focused around these story and quests. Is it going to be 50-50? Is it going to be 70-30 in the opposite direction? And I think the simple reality is, I don't really know. Some of the new details we hear about sound cool and exciting. like getting to combine settlements and actually having this new and cool perk card system. But at the same time, we get some other information then, and I'm like, why are they doing that? Like the removal of human NPCs. I still think I would feel more excited for this game if it did include human NPCs and some more of those traditional quests. Like if they literally took Fallout 4 and just added an online survival component, made it so as you're exploring and doing the quests, another player might pop up also doing a different quest, I would be sold on that game. That sounds amazing to me. I think it'd be a ton of fun. And I think the simple reality is that's the game I want. Depending on how much Fallout 76 sways from that is probably going to determine how much I dislike or like it. Obviously, I'm just one person. I don't expect Bethesda to cater to my needs individually. I don't want to come across that way. But as far as a video goes, actually giving my thoughts and opinions, I just hope Bethesda found a good balance of implementing these new multiplayer features, because there's definitely a lot of promise with them, at least in my eyes, but also still having on the other side some of those more traditional Fallout experiences, the quests, the story, and the RPG elements. With the beta seemingly being a month to a month and a half away at this point, I don't really know what to expect with Fallout 76. There's definitely a combination that gets me really excited and makes me love this game, but there's also a combination that has me disappointed and hoping for a new release in the coming years. And I just have to imagine a lot of you guys watching must feel a similar way. We just know and have seen so little of this game, I feel like it's hard to have a concrete opinion right now. Even though we've heard certain details, and maybe for you, one of those details or just reading about that detail was a major turnoff enough to abandon this. At the same time, maybe Bethesda actually found this amazing balance, and it's gonna be an awesome game even if you like the traditional Fallout experience. So at the end of the day, I think the takeaway from this video should be, I'm hopefully optimistic, I just wish we knew more. Obviously we will know more once we get the beta, and then I'll probably make another updated version of this video because hopefully we'll know everything at that point. But as of right now, I feel like it's really hard to come to a firm conclusion with everything we have on the table thus far. As always, again, I thank you all for watching. I do hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope to see you all next time. Later.